That was like it's like the quickest show ever. That was like simple, right? I mean, we didn't go an hour and a half. Oh wait, we did go an hour and a half. I like to try to blame it on Graham because he's always the one that likes to make it all about Arsenal and talk about Arsenal nonstop.
And now we have proof it's you.
It's me. Hey, it's a scientific fact. I love my own voice. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston. Sam Houston? Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Son of the Lord. But straight and short. Sam Grammy. Sam Graham.
Hello and welcome to DU Does EFL, a completely biased brief recap of the rest of English football as told by three common American schmucks. I'm your host, Sam Houston, and across the internets from me, halfway across the United States, the conductor of the optimism train, Shan. How you doing, good sir?
Doing well, Sam. How are you?
Excellent. Very good. We get to talk all fucking football, like all of it. You know, this is a weird world for you. It's a brave new world. It's not just talking about Everton.
So you miss an opportunity to go from sea level to a mile above.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good call. Well done, producer Mo. That's why you produce shit. And of course, I have options. Cole. How you doing, Cole?
I'm doing all right. Feeling much better. Much better now that I'm talking to you. And I also like the sound of your voice.
Thank you. Well, see, she gets lippy, and when she gets lippy, I have to remind her I have options. Just gotta keep her, you know.
Oh,
You
God.
don't know what I do when you're not around.
We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. Producer Mel, tell the people how they can get in touch.
Well, we are pretty active on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Twitter. We are on Twitch and Kick, but don't message us there because we're not going to check it. The best way to get a message into the group is email dufootballshow@gmail.com. And that's it. That's the only way. Email.
Mm-hmm.
No phone number.
Mm-hmm.
No snail mail. We have a P.O. Box. 16 Church Circle, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
I don't know. There's too many listeners on this show that shouldn't have my number that do have my number. And they text me when I'm drunk. And the next thing I know, they're coming over and staying at my house and we're going to Robert Earl Keen shows together.
That's only for Patreon. And how do you get that one?
www.patreon.com/DU football show, even though I don't need to add the www because that's archaic. And it's / not / because Rob told me that, because also / is archaic. It's /.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, that's how it works. And if Danny was here, we wouldn't be drinking the exact same shit because he's a quality guest host. Just saying, raise the bar, motherfuckers. But we are drinking the exact same shit we were drinking in the last show. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Championship Corner!
I'm falling and I can't get up. Oh, no.
I'd like to give this context for you, Sean. What we have here, this is on the koozie, is my niece, Abby. This is her pre-K photo. And as you can tell, she's not impressed. This is apoplectic Abby. And apoplectic Abby would be the best way to describe Burnley and Leeds, 0-0. And funny, nobody else in the top gained any points either, except for West Brom. They're the only team that actually got some points this weekend. Everybody else lost or drew. The Blades, Borough, and Blackburn all lost. West Brom got their win 5-1 over Pompey to move back into the playoff spots. Pompey did manage to get a win in the midweek against Stoke, who are down near the bottom, and that has gotten them out of the relegation zone currently. They're level on points, but they have a better goal differential. No, I'm sorry. They're 1 point ahead. 1 point ahead currently. But the key one is Plymouth are now just shrinking into the dead last spot. They're kind of pulling a Southampton right now in the championship. Now, for context, Plymouth has been traditionally a League One side. They got up to the championship last year. They stayed up. It was a great story. And then they did the stupidest thing ever, which I hope we never do, which is hire Wayne Rooney to become their manager. and Sean's over there just shaking his head going, no, it's gonna fucking happen eventually. Sean, he's gonna fucking be the manager of Everton one time because we're too dumb not to fucking hire him. And it won't go well. It just won't go well. But Plymouth have been a complete mess. And their key player, Morgan Whitaker, Sean, you got a little bit more on this story. I know that he just got sold to Borough, but he got himself in a little trouble, didn't he?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's, when you want to say you're reporting for work, you're reporting for work. But according to their manager, Muslik, he was supposed to be on the team sheet. He wasn't. And I think there was a little bit of internal strife there. And then about a week later, or maybe even less than that, he is now playing for Middlesbrough. So, obviously for them, a key figure to any of their survival hopes. Interestingly enough, I know Muslik had like this like kind of 4.5 minute video, motivational video, which wanted to make you kind of run through a brick wall for the guy, but yeah, they haven't gotten results. They did tie Sunderland, so that was kind of a big, maybe kind of motivational lift for them. But yeah, just when you lose your best player and you're kind of sandwiched at the bottom, I agree with you. It'll be a great escape if they can stay in the league.
And the teams that are down there with them, we kind of talked about it. Cole, we mentioned Luton is all the way down there. They just recently parted ways with their manager that was with us. Kaufman, was it?
Rob Edwards.
Rob Edwards, that's it. That was with them the entire time that they were up in the Premier League, but it just has gone horrifically wrong for them. And then after that, you've got Derby County, who, people would think of them as being part of the furniture in the championship, but they also just recently got promoted as well. And then it's Pompey, Stoke, Millwall, Oxford, who has never been in the championship. So if I'm a personally betting man, I feel like the daunting schedule will eventually catch up to Oxford, and Oxford will be one of the teams that falls down and goes out. But we're kind of rooting for very specific things when it comes to the rest of the league, just as the rest of the football as neutrals is. I want Pompey to stay up because I know Southampton's coming down. I want a South Coast derby. There has not been a South Coast derby in a very long time. I want a South Coast derby, and I want it desperately. I want Blackburn and Burnley to stay in the same league. If that means they're both promoted, it means they're both promoted, or I want them both to stay down because that's one of the oldest. I mean, next to Everton and Villa, which is the most and longest professional fixtures ever played, Burnley and Blackburn are two of the original 12, and they hate each other. And then, of course, the other one we're all rooting for is I want Sunderland to go up. I want a Tyne-Wear. I want Newcastle Sunderland. It's just again. Well, we're not on TikTok right now, Mel. Good, I can do it. Put it right here, right in the vein, right there. Just shoot that happiness right into me. That is what I want. I want all the derbies, and if Ipswich go down, we get an Old Farm, and we get Ipswich and Norwich again. So a few other things worth mentioning. The Blades have added some massive pieces. They got Ben Barrington Diaz from Southampton, who hasn't done much of anything. He was with Southampton Sheffield United on loan when they went down. One thing worth noting, the man is a fucking beast in the championship. When he was with Blackburn, he was the leading goal scorer for a couple years in a row, and he is an absolute beast. And then they also got an Evertonian, former Evertonian in Tom Cannon, who was with Leicester. So how about that, Sean? We actually made a little money for nothing.
625,000. I don't think it's as much as the Arteta money that's never been found, but we'll take it.
Yeah, it works. Now the only thing we need, and this, frankly, it's not what we need. It's what West Brom needs. This is what West Brom needs. West Brom needs a veteran, proven defensive force to sign on permanently with their club. And, Mason Holgate, we're willing to part with him. We are. I know he's down there on a loan spell right now, and he's lighting it up with his red cards and idiocy and just chicanery without face like defending. But I think that's the move that just needs to happen, right? Right, Sean? Would just like quick. I mean, ham sandwich and 2 quid. I'll take it.
I mean, when you think of just the beacon of hope for a team, I don't think there's anybody that you'd rather have than Mason Holgate.
Oh,
I couldn't even say that seriously. Yeah, but no, please take him. Please take him. Yeah,
give him to you.
Yeah,
I'll give you 2 quid and a ham sandwich. Just take him, please take him. I'll make the ham sandwich for you. I'll cut the crust off. I'll cut it into 4s. Cole, I don't know if you saw this. There was this video about how do you cut your sandwich, right?
Mm-hmm,
all the different players about diagonal, like Holland saying, "Oh, I cut it diagonal." Gets to Jamie fucking Vardy with a knife, mate.
Stop.
And he even goes at the end, he's like, "You asked me how do I cut it?" Like, I use a knife to cut it. Like,
way to think outside the box, Jamie. Good for you.
It's why he is Jamie fucking Vardy, man. That is,
bless his heart.
He is. There is one game in hand, unbelievably, in the 865 games that get played every single year for the championship. There is only one game in hand, and that is going to be Pompey hosting Millwall in the midweek. And somehow, through the miracle of radio, I don't know how this happened, every single team is on 29 fixtures so far. It's a miracle. I don't normally, you look at the lower leagues and it's like, well, we're about to get on to somebody's got 2 games in hand. Somebody's got 3 games in hand. And you look through the whole table and you go, oh, those are the teams that still need to play each other. League One saw Birmingham City draw Wrexham to maintain their league at the top, as Wickham also drew. It's honestly looking like Birmingham City is going to probably ultimately run away with it because they're 2 points ahead of Wickham and they're 3 points ahead of Wrexham, or it might be 2 and 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, something like that. But the key thing is they still have 2 games in hand. So and frankly, Birmingham City's not a League One side. I mean, I know it gives Mel and Cole great joy to see Birmingham City fucking it off, but
warms my heart. It really does.
They're a championship side. It's what they are. Like, and they're probably going right back up. The more interesting story is, obviously Wrexham with the chance of gaining automatic promotion to the championship, and while there can be certainly people talking about, Hollywood FC and stuff like that and the opportunity to have the money, but you got to say, Rob and Ryan have done it right at Wrexham, right, Cole?
I think absolutely they have. And let's not forget that this is not like an immediate injection of just, money and resources and, they're immediately going to go up to champions. Like they're just going to be like, it's been a couple of seasons already.
They failed at first
absolutely they failed at first.
It's taken them a little now getting through League Two quickly was a blessing, but also they already had a League Two side when they were in the National League. You already spent that frankly, they already had a League One side when they were in the National League. Another one worth mentioning, everybody's second club in London, Leyton Orient, the O's, beat Reading 2-0. And here's the funny one, because normally Leyton Orient's one of those teams that's always like dwindling between, like yo-yoing between 1 and 2, League One and League Two. They've even gone down to the National League before as well. They're now just outside of the playoff spots to get promoted to the championship. I mean, that's one of them stories like Oxford getting promoted to the championship where you're like, fuck yeah, everybody will be happy except for Leyton Orient's biggest rivals. Other than that, everybody will be like, fuck yeah. Yeah. The O's up in the championship. That'd be great. Cole, I know you've heard us talk about it a bunch with Reading. We're getting towards the end of the transfer window, and so far they haven't sold very many people, which is a good thing. But the bigger thing is that they haven't sold the fucking club yet, because old Die Young still just wants to keep on holding on to it and running it into the ground. Shan, how much have you seen about this whole kind of saga that's been going on with Reading?
I haven't seen an incredible amount, but just it's when something hits your algorithm that you don't expect to, like Reading does, like it's a big deal, right? And I've seen it enough on Twitter to kind of just see how poorly the ownership situation is, how much they don't want him, how badly mismanaged the club is. And as you know, Sam, we can relate to that situation very well.
Exactly.
Not to that level, though. I mean, of course, they really, I mean, you know, you have petitions, right, to kind of just sell the club and whatnot. You know, maybe Kesha should buy the club, Die Young. I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, like, it's just at this point. But yeah, I can empathize with the fans of just not having an owner that you want anywhere near the club. And yeah, it's just, but to your point, if they haven't sold anybody, that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's a good sign. It's a team. They'll ultimately be better once the club is finally sold, and this is very much a Mike Ashley situation where Da Young holds all the control, and he should have already sold the club because there's already been bidders, and he's gone, no, wait a minute, I think get a little more money, and it falls apart, and it's just that club does not deserve to be going through what they're going through. Are they a Premier League side? No. But are they part of the furniture in the championship? Absolutely. They're a team that occasionally gets promoted, and they're better than this, and their supporters deserve way better than this, you know? Because you think about the smaller clubs still pull 20 some odd thousand to games. Like they're big deals in their markets, and they mean a lot. And again, this is the lifeblood for these towns and for these areas. And it just sucks because particularly, and I'm not making any reference other than the fact that is a foreign owner, not whatever their nationality is, but for an Englishman, that's got to be even harder when it's outside ownership that doesn't know or get where they're from. When we then turn around and look at something like Wrexham, where, yeah, it's a couple of Yanks, but they fucking get it. Like they understand the severity of that club to that city. And it's an absolute shame. I did want to, I went ahead and did a little research here. Shan, I wanted to, because I always have everybody else talk about their people. Like I had Cole talk about Villa players, and I've had Danny talk about Wolves players and all that fun stuff. There's actually a Toffee playing for the Tangerines. That's Blackpool. I just wanted to say Toffee Tangerine. And that would be goalkeeper Harry Trier, who has gotten 18 matches so far. So actually getting some playing time. There's a couple of others in League Two, really only one worth mentioning because one already got sent back to Everton, and the other one's not getting any time. But the other one we'll talk about is actually a goalkeeper as well. And we're going to talk about it right now, finally in League Two. Aki got an impressive 1-0 victory over second place Crew Alexandra. The reason why we always talk about Aki, Shan, is because we are close personal friends with head groundskeeper Ben Kay, who was the head groundskeeper at Chorley. He was the one who famously had his 15 minutes of sleeping under a tent all night long with heaters blowing on the field, and then they beat Derby County to advance. They were a non-league side, and then their next match they lost to Wolves at home in the fourth round of the FA Cup. But that shutout was handled by yet another Everton keeper, and that was Billy Cyrilin, who he has now played 18 matches, started 18 matches for him, and has 4 shutouts, doing all right. Both the keepers, 23 and 24, respectively. So considering Virginia probably isn't going to stick around much longer, might see one of these two guys sitting on the bench next year for Everton.
Well, Sam, we need to have 2 keepers on the bench at all times, right? So that just a rite of passage, right? So it's even as our team gets more talented, right, there always needs to be 2 keepers on the bench. Harry Tyler is an interesting one because I actually think just in the limited time I've seen him in preseasons and whatnot, he seems like a pretty decent keeper. Of course, Virginia, I think anytime he's been called upon has done a great job for us. So yeah, I mean, we're not struggling with the keepers at Everton. So
Virginia's going to want to play, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him for leaving. So
and he also probably, frankly, costs probably a little too much right now especially for a backup keeper who will get 0 minutes. Because as long as Pickford is healthy, Pickford is going to play. That's just what it is.
And when we have Begovic, throwing fists at the end of the Brighton game, we are in good hands no matter whether we want to go to Andy Lonergan or basically Billy Crellin. So we'll be fine.
We are deep, very deep. They are sitting currently in 20th place. They are 7 points clear of safety. Unfortunately, our fallen brethren, the Shrimps, girl, the Shrimps ain't doing so good. We don't call him Morecambe as it's pronounced. We call him Morecambe because Harambe. Dick's out for Harambe. Shrimps out for fucking Morecambe. Unfortunately, they lost and they are now in dead last. They are 6 points from safety and Carlisle's right in front of them. And Carlisle is 5 points from safety. It is not looking good for either one of them. So I'm starting to fear that they might be taking the route of old Forest Green Rovers from last season, where it's too late. It's too late to come back from, especially considering the teams that are in front of them are teams like Tranmere and Aki that they know how to survive. Like those are clubs that know how to stick around. There was worth mentioning. I had said there were 2 others. There was Yespin. God, I can't remember his last name. That's playing for Chesterfield, but all he's gotten is like 5 appearances as a midfielder. And then Francis Oniwaku just got recalled, and he was playing for Salford, and he had a couple of goals, but he didn't have very many appearances. So if your kid striker isn't going to get minutes, why do you need to have them there? Just put them in the U21s and let them actually play. That's the whole point of sending them to League 2 is so they can go score 20 goals and feel good about themselves. Right. And it just doesn't work. Finally, worth mentioning, Doncaster did get a 1-0 win over Harrogate. They have moved into 3rd place, but they are still well behind Wassell. Wassell's got a 12-point lead, and they're pretty much running away with it now. But the key thing to look for is, honestly, it's 2nd through 8th are divided by 2 points. But I got a little soft spot for Doncaster. As you know, Sean, from last year, we beat them in the League Cup, and at the time, they were the worst team in all of football. They ended last year on an 18 unbeaten streak to make the playoffs, to get to the finals, the promotion final at home, and lose on penalty shootouts.
No.
Brutal.
They did
no.
They did all the work. And then they messed up right at the end. That is going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Presuming no parting words from either one of you, but have fun talking a little bit about the rest of football there, kids.
Absolutely. I am very much rooting for Leeds, but also, why are you not scoring?
Yeah. That was bad. That was bad. Although our one of our resident Leeds supporters, Dave Geckel, said he was glad that he got to watch it at 3:00 in the afternoon as opposed to getting up at 7:00 in the morning for that bullshit. Next up is injury time, where we're going to preview the weekend's action. We're talking about the beers we were drinking, checking in on our fantasy teams, and of course, seeing how our adopted clubs are doing. If you want to find that, is patreon.com/DU football show. And for $5, you get our sound check and our injury time as extra content for you. Until next week, everybody.